So hello everyone, welcome to Triaright. This is pack 365. Myself Sujit. So in this session, we are going to learn what is polymorphism. Okay, because this is the third pillars of our OOPS. So guys, if you remember in the first session also, I'm trying to told you that Python is not a 100% object-oriented programming language because of one concept that is called our method overloading is not possible. So in this session, we are going to learn what is polymorphism, then what is the use case of this polymorphism, then what is the different type we can achieve this polymorphism, each and everything we are trying to see now. So first we are trying to understand what is the meaning of this line, or we can say that of this word. Okay, now if I try to break this single word to two different word, one will called our poly and second one called our morphism, then you can get a clear picture on that what is the meaning of this. Okay, suppose if I try to take poly plus morphism, it will be consist of our polymorphism. Then what is the meaning of poly? So the poly means many and the morphism means our behavior. Okay, so here we are just trying to use this behavior because we know that behavior means our functionality, because every time whenever we are trying to discuss our any object oriented concept, it will purely based upon our class and object. That's why the object will be based on our states and behavior. That's why whenever we are just trying to say that if an object having multiple forms means multiple forms, then at that time we can say that this is called our polymorphism. So here in polymorphism, we don't care about our state, or we can say that property. Every time we are just try to dealing with our functionality, because behavior means the functionality means withdrawal, deposit, all this thing, all this is the deposit of a person, each and everything. So polymorphism says that if an object having multiple forms, we can say that this is called our polymorphism. Okay, now the next point, polymorphism can achieve in two ways. Okay, we can use one concept called our method overloading and one more concept called our method overriding. Okay, so now we are trying to discuss all of this. So now I just want to give you the theoretical point of our polymorphism. So poly means many and morphism means behavior. So now I try to give the theoretical point. So if an object, okay, every time we are just try to create object, guys, right? If an object is having, if an object is having many forms, okay, many forms means if the object will be performing different methods, then in that case we are trying to say is that this is called our polymorphism. So it refers to, okay, I'm just trying to simplify more. So it refers to ability of, okay, ability of different, okay, different classes, okay, because every time it will be purely based upon our classes and object. Okay guys, so here also we are trying to create different type of classes only. So classes to respond to same method, okay, respond to same method name or operate, okay, or the operator in different way. Okay, so each and everything we are trying to see in this session only. Okay, operate in different ways. Okay, so this is all about our polymorphism. Okay, so to achieve polymorphism we have two ways. Okay, to achieve, okay, to achieve this we have two ways. Okay, first one called our method overloading, okay, and second one called our method overriding. Okay, so here method overloading and second one called our method overriding. Okay, so now we're trying to see more about that in the in-depth knowledge. Okay, overriding. Okay, so before we're going to start these two, I want to give you more clarification how the polymorphism will going to work by the help of our doc typing. Okay, what is called our doc typing? Also, we can say that this is a one type of polymorphism. So first we are trying to understand what is called our doc typing in our polymorphism. So guys, why I'm just trying to say this is called doc type. If I try to take a real-time example, suppose if I try to take a dog, so here we can say that if it walk like a dog and quack like a dog, means dog means the animal having some features that they can speak, for the cat meow, for the dog back just like that. Here, that's why here I'm taking duck type. If it walk like a dog and quack like a dog, this is why we can say that this is called our dog type. So what is the meaning of that? Based on the behavior rather than checking. So here it will be not checking which type of animal you are passing. It will only purely based upon our method. That's why here we are using this dog type concept. So now we are trying to understand through an example, then only we are just try to written some theoretical part. Okay, suppose we are try to take two classes. Okay, for the animal classes. Okay, first one I can take dog, because for the dog it will be bark like woo, means you can take any type of. Okay, so for the cat you can say that meow. Okay, so here I'm taking woof for the dog. So here I need to take a class. So every time whenever we are dealing with our polymorphism, every time we are just try to create the method. That's why here I'm trying to create a method called that speak method. And this speak will take one mandatory argument that is called our self, because it will be storing that particular current address. Okay, so whenever I'm just trying to call this method, every time it needs to print, or we can say that return. Okay, here I'm just trying to return that wolf. Okay, so this is the sound we can generate. Okay, now I need to create one more sound. Okay, for the cat. Okay, means if I'm create another one, I need to create a class. Okay, so here I'm trying to take a cat class. Okay, so here also I'm just try to create the same function. Okay, or we can say that same method. So here also I'm trying to take that. How it will be doing like that? Because in the first also I'm trying to tell that every time our polymorphism will be purely based upon our methods only. Okay, but how it will be different, now I try to see now. Okay, now here also I need to return that meow is my output, means whenever I'm just try to call this cat and the method called speak, it will be returning my meow as my output. Okay, so now I just want to create a function. Okay, so outside of this class, means now this function will be treated like a normal function only. Okay, if you are creating a function inside a class, it will be treated like a method. But if you are creating a function outside, or we can say that in the global space, it will be treated like a normal function only. Okay, now here I am just trying to print a function called animal sound. Okay, so here I'm trying to take that animal sound, but here it will be taking one mandatory argument that is called animal, means which type of animal you are trying to pass. And here I'm just trying to print, means whenever I'm just trying to print that particular function called, it will be give me the return value, guys, right? So here I need to specify by the help of our dot. So animal dot means whatever the animal I'm just passing, every time I just need to call this method called speak method. Okay, so how it going to happen? After creating, we know that every time we are just creating objects. So here I'm trying to create two objects for different dog and cat. For object one, I just want to create for my dog, and for this object two, I just create for my cat. Okay, means you can give any name for your dog and cat. Okay, now my requirement will be I want to call this function to run that particular method inside this class. Okay, so how to do that? We have one option that we are need to call this function. How to call this function? By the help of this function name. But if you see, this function will taking one mandatory argument that is called animal, means which type of animal. So here you need to pass your object reference as a mandatory argument. So here I need to pass object one. Okay. So from this example, if you see here, it will say that polymorphism means if one object having different form, means if you see here I am just creating one method, means one method is called speak, but in my different form, because for one object it will be take for my dog and for one object it will be take for my cat. This is called our dog type, means based upon our animal sound we can get that, or we can say that animal sound accept any object with our speak function. Here the method will no checking the type, means which type of, because we are just try to pass the object. Now if I try to run this one, so here first it will be creating for the both the class. Here we are try to create at the time of object creation, we are trying to pass the class name. Okay, so here I'm trying to pass the object reference as object one. So this object one will be take the properties from my dog. So what is the dog? So whenever I'm just try to run this dog method, it will be print oof. Okay, now if I'm trying to pass the same animal sound, but here I'm trying to pass the object to, now it will be print the output as meow. Okay guys, just see, so this is called our dog type, means if it walk like a dog and quack like a dog only. So here I can say that if it will be walk like a cat and it will be speak like a meow, so this is called our dog type in our polymorphism. So now we are just try to write the point. Okay, so here we can write if it walk like a dog, quack like a dog, and quack like a, okay, quack like a dog. It's called, it is there, okay, dog. Okay, now here what's happened guys in Python, or we can say that this function Python does not check the type of explicitly, it check for the presence of method or behavior, means here it will be not checking which function you are just, means here it will be not checking the class, here it will only checking for about the functionality, or we can say that method. Okay, so now here we can write here Python will not checking about, okay, checking about the types, okay, checking about the type explicitly. Okay, means here it will be not checking which type of animal you are passing, it's only checking the function. Okay, so here it checks, it checks the, okay, it checks for presence of a method. Okay, only it will be care about our method, that's we are trying to pass method, or we can say that behavior, both are same only. Okay, so this is all about our doc type that available in our in our polymorphism. So now we are trying to discuss about what is method overloading that's available. Okay, now every time we are just try to use the methods only, means we are not creating any properties. Okay, means the common property and uncommon property. So now how the method overloading will going to happen, why it will be not possible, each and everything we are trying to discuss now. Okay, so guys, what is method overloading? So guys, method overloading is not possible in Python, we have already know. Then why it not possible? Because it says that in a class, if there are multiple method with same name but different functionality, then this function will be says that method overloading. To understand this, we are trying to create an example. So it says that if I try to create a class, and inside this class if I try to create method but with the same name, but the functionality will be different, means for one method you are taking one argument, for second method you are taking two arguments. So at that time if we are doing like that, this process we can say that method overloading. So why it will be not possible? Now we're try to see now. So here I'm just try to create a class, okay, because here we are just try to create a single class, okay. So if we try to use your polymorphism by the help of our method overloading, you need to create only one class. So here I'm just try to create a class called sample, okay. So here I need to create multiple method with the same name, but the different input, or we can say that functionality. Suppose here I'm trying to add two number. Okay. So we know that whenever we try to create any object method, every time it will be taking one mandatory argument that is called self. So as of now, here I'm just trying to pass two number, means a comma b. So every time whenever I'm just try to use this add, I need to return a plus b. Okay. Again, I'm just trying to create one more function with the same name. Okay. So here also I'm just trying to use self, but here I'm just giving three positional argument. Okay. So now here I'm just trying to return a plus b plus c. Again, I'm just trying to create a one more things that is called again the same method by the help of the name same. But here I'm just trying to take four positional argument, and every time I just need to perform the same operation. Okay. So guys, just see. As of now, we are just trying to dealing with that. Now, why it is not possible? Now we are trying to see now. So after creating any class, if I try to use that, every time we know that we are trying to create object. So now how to create object? First you need to provide your object name. Then you need to provide your class name. After providing this, if you see here, if I try to run this one, it's only creating that particular object and it will be not gives any error. So now my requirement will be I want to use this method. Okay. So guys, as of now, I just want to pass four argument because I have passing four argument. Okay. That's right. So how to use any methods? So we have one option that is called our object method, or we can say that object reference. So here object one dot my method name called add, and here I need to pass four argument. Okay, 1 2 3 4. Guys, just see. Now if I'm trying to print that, so every time I just try to print this one. Okay, because it will be returning to this one. Okay, so yeah guys, now if I'm trying to run this one, guys, just see, it will be displaying me 10. But now my requirement will be, guys, I want to use this function. Means this method we have to pass only three argument. Okay, now if I'm trying to do this, so it is not possible. Why? Because in our polymorphism, or we can say that in our Python, it if you are try to create multiple method with same name but the different functionality, it will be taking the recent method name. So guys, just see, if I try to deal with that, it will gives you the error. Why it will be gives you the error? This sample class having a method called add. It will be displaying that sample.add missing one required positional argument that is called my D. So why? Because we are trying to give three argument. So this is the way why the method overloading is not possible in Python. Okay. So now we are just trying to write all the theoretical point that available in our method overloading. Then only we are just try to discuss how to make it possible that method overloading is possible. Okay. So now come to my MS Word. Now we are just try to write. So in Python, so here we are just write in Python method overloading. Okay. Overloading method overloading is not possible. If you see here also, it is not possible. Then the next point, what is called our method overloading? If in a class, okay, if you are trying to create a class, if there are multiple method, okay, multiple method, but with the same name, but the different signature, but different different signature, or we can say that functionality. If you see here also, we are passing for one time, we are passing two positional argument. For second one, we are just try to pass three positional argument. For the fourth one, we are just try to pass four positional argument. Okay, so now the for the different functionality, then this process is called method overloading. Method overloading. Okay, so method overloading. So this is all about our theoretical part. Now, the next one, this process is not possible. Now, if in the interview they will be asked why it not possible. So at that time you can say that this process is not possible because every time object takes the latest defined method. Means if you see this object one, it will be taking the latest one. Means the latest one will be 4 argument. That's why here it will be taking that things. Here it will be give the, you are missing one positional argument, that is called D. Okay, now I try to write this one. So this process, okay, this process is not possible because every time, okay, every time the object, or we can say that in Python also, object take the latest, or okay, lat latest defined method. Okay, here also this will be going to happen. So object is behaving in a single form only. Okay, so the object is perform. Okay, so the object is perform a single for only. So this is the way we can achieve our method overloading in polymorphism. Okay, so that's all for this session. In the upcoming session, we are trying to dealing with how we can make it possible that every time if I try to achieve this function also it needs to work. If I try to pass this function, it needs to work. Okay, but make sure that in Python overloading is not possible because of every time our object, it will be taking the latest method. Okay, so that's all for this session. Thanks for watching Triaright.